What up, raft leaders? Welcome back to my channel. We're back in the botanical gardens. This is the mausoleum for the president, Forbes Burnham. Since the last time we were here, like a week ago, at the place of the Seven Ponds, they've installed some new signs. I just wanted to show you this because people are asking. You know, one person said that they visited and they couldn't tell which president was buried where. They've actually installed some new signs, and we're going to go over there and take a look at what they've done in the last few days. But just to show you, they've installed no parking signs. This one says no parking on lawn or on the trees. They've installed some new benches here in the botanical gardens, and we'll look at what they've installed on the tombs of the presidents or the heroes. So last time we were here, we said this is the place of the seven ponds. These are 7 artificial ponds that were constructed, designed, and there's a monument in the center. This is place of the seven ponds, place of the seven ponds 1969. So this was built in 1969. And the last person to be buried here was Sir Sridath Ramphal. Somebody reminded me that I failed to mention that Sir Sridath Ramphal was the Secretary General of the Commonwealth. Alright, the Commonwealth of Nations are those nations that were once British colonies, and I don't think they didn't put that on his headstone, but they've actually installed some new signs here. This one says Martin Carter, right? Martin Wild Carter. So Martin Carter is buried over here. They've been working on his tomb. I don't think we can yet read the headstone, but they do have some notes here. Martin Wild Carter, CC8, remains one of Guyana's most distinguished and outstanding poets. Born 7th June 1927 in Georgetown, he studied at Queen's College and joined the civil service in 1947. He was married to Phyllis Howard and fathered 4 children, Keith, Sonia Howard, and Michelle. Carter's literary career began in 1950, and his early works were influenced by Marxist ideas and his experience with the Political Affairs Committee. 1953, he was arrested for spreading dissension by the British government. He was released in 1954 and later launched a series of poems labeled Poems of Resistance, which were published by a London-based company, making him the first Guyanese to be one of the first Caribbean poets to be published internationally. In the 1960s, he served as an information officer with Booker's group of companies, but resigned in 1967. He was then appointed as Minister of Information under the newly established government. He resigned from this post in 1970. His poetry remains influential, reflecting his commitment to justice and artistic integrity. Carter passed away on December 13, 1997, leaving behind a legacy of profound literary and political contributions. So that's Martin Carter. The next tomb here is Sir David James Gardner Rose. So Sir David Rose. We still have David Rose streets in Guyana, David Rose Street in South Ramville Gardens. Hey, look at the fog here in Georgetown. If you look beyond the trees, you can see what appears to be a misty morning. Still about 6:30, and so there are lots of birds going for breakfast. Those are parrots you can hear actually. And there's a fog that hasn't yet lifted. You can see it when you look into the east. Right? Look at the sun. So Sir David James Gardner Rose, GM, GCMG, CVO, MBE, member of the British Empire, CPE and OE, Order of Excellence, was a prominent public servant who played a significant role in Guyana's transformation from a British colony to an independent nation. He was born on April 10, 1923 in Mahaika and educated at Mount St. Mary's College in England. He returned to British Guyana and served in law enforcement and colonial administration, including serving as an assistant commissioner of police and later federal defense officer for the West Indies Federation. He married Lady Patricia Rose, and together they had 5 children. In 1966, Rose was appointed as the first Guyanese Governor General for British Guyana. As posted, he retained until his death. So it should be a post he retained until his death. He received numerous honors during his late life and after. Tragically, he died on November 10, 1969 due to an accident, scaffolding collapse in England. An accident should be accidental scaffolding collapse. That's David Rose. So some of us who were born and raised in Guyana don't know him. He died before I was born. Desmond Hoyt. So this is the tomb of Desmond Hoyt. Again, you can't really read the headstone, but this is where Desmond Hoyt is now buried, at the place of the 7 Ponds. And he was born March 9, 1929 and died December 22nd, 2002. Hugh Desmond Hoyt, senior counsel as SC, Guyanese politician and lawyer, served as president of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana from 1985 to 1992. Born in Georgetown, he earned a BA and LLB from the University of London, qualifying as a barrister, and was appointed Queen's Counsel in 1969. He was married to Joyce Noreen de Freitas, 1965, and had 2 daughters. Unfortunately, both his daughters died in a car accident in 1985. Actually, I went to school with his daughters, and they died while I was in high school, while they were in 6th form and I was in 5th form at Bishop's. So I know I actually met his daughters or saw them. Hoyt held various ministerial posts under the People's National Congress government, representing Guyana in international financial institutions, and established Latin American Economic System, SELA. He also championed environmental causes and initiated the Irokama International Rainforest Project, which is news to me because everybody credits Jagdeo with doing that. It's actually Desmond Hoyt who did it. As president, he implemented significant electoral and economic reforms, promoting market-oriented policies and enhancing democratic processes. Desmond Hoyt passed away in 2002, leaving a legacy of contributions to Guyana's legal, political, and environmental spheres. So that's Hugh Desmond Hoyt. And there's one other. All right, that's the mausoleum for Forbes Burnham. As I said in the previous video, Dr. Chetty Jagan is buried in Berbice, Babu John, I think. This one is Arthur Chong. He was the first president. President Arthur Chong. I think I was still around. I had already been born when Arthur Chong was president, but we'll see. Arthur Chong, right? Arthur Raymond Chong, OE, that's Order of Excellence. Born January 10, 1918 in Windsor Forest, West Coast, Demerara, was educated at various schools in British Guyana and England. He returned home and worked as an apprentice surveyor and sworn land surveyor before becoming a barrister. He returned to Guyana and served as a magistrate, puisne judge, and appeal court judge. He was married to Doreen Pamela Nisi Kwan in 1954, with whom he had a daughter and a son. Actually, I went to school with Liz Chong and Martin Chong. I don't know if they're related. This was in Berbice in the 1980s. On March 17, 1970, Arthur Chong was elected by the National Assembly as Guyana's first president, a position he held until October 1980. He was succeeded by Lyndon Forbes Sampson Burnham. Ah, okay. That's how we overlapped. So I remember him when I was like 4 or 5 or 6 years old. So on March 17, 1970, Arthur Chong was elected by the National Assembly as Guyana's first president, a position he held until October 1980. He was succeeded by Lyndon Forbes Burnham, Guyana's first executive president, following constitutional revision that transformed the presidency into an executive position. During his presidency in 1972, Guyana became the first English-speaking Caribbean country to establish diplomatic relations with China. President Chong visited China in 1977. He died on June 23, 2008. Okay, so he's died quite recently. Like I said, I went to school with the Chongs in Berbice, and he's buried here. This is Arthur Chong. So those of you who wanted to see what the former presidents looked like, this is now been added. They've added pictures and text describing who these people were, these presidents. They're now our ancestors here at the place of the 7 Ponds. But that's it, guys. That's what's happening here. You see the fog is still on the ground, and we've actually seen the mausoleum inside before. If you want to see the details of that, go check out the video. Just do a search on the mausoleum of the president, Lyndon Forbes Sampson Burnham. I did that in a previous video. But that's what's happening here. If you want to see more content like this, click like and subscribe. Share this video with friends and family around the world. Let people know what's happening in the fastest growing economy in the world, Guyana. Later!